first have Adrian Udarbe, who's with the Arizona Department of Health Services. And Adrian was the Arizona Food Day coordinator in her capacity with the health department. Next, we'll hear from Kate McDevitt, who's with Network for a Healthy California. Kate was the San Diego Food Day coordinator and will be sharing one of the citywide activities that she organized. Finally, we'll hear from Carrie Alta Glenn, who's with Planet Food Northwest, and she was a member of the Seattle Food Day Coalition, and she'll be talking about what they put together for Food Day. Of course, because we want this website or this webinar to provide you with tools and answer your questions, we want to make sure we have time for questions and answers at the end. So please hold your questions until then. In terms of a couple quick campaign highlights, many of you have probably already seen that the Food Day campaign report has just been released. You'll find that on your screen right now. It's a great tool that captures many of the great events that took place last year, as well as puts the campaign in context and really gives a comprehensive picture of what has gone on. And it's a great way to familiarize yourself as well as people you might be reaching out to about the campaign. And that is available on foodday.org under the resources section. Next, just as a quick summary, we were thrilled with how Food Day 2012 took place. There were over 3,200 events across the country in all 50 states. We saw thousands of Americans celebrating this second Food Day with activities ranging from a 15,000-person festival in Savannah, Georgia, to over 40,000 New Yorkers taking part in a citywide Big Apple Crunch, as well as new projects, food policies, and reports launched, and much more beyond that. So I think that since 2011, we've really seen the campaign grow. We're thrilled that this grassroots network has developed and will continue to develop, and today we'll go into how to keep that going on. Wanted to let everyone know that there is a selected press archive that's also available in Food Day resources. Our team pulled from all of the media hits that Food Day received last year and pulled together a booklet of the highlights, and that's a great way, again, to familiarize yourself with what people were saying about Food Day, and it's also great to show to your partners. In terms of other resources for organizers, you'll see this is a page from our report, and at the bottom you'll see a sampling of some of the resources that we have up on the website. We're in the process of redoing a lot of them for 2013, but many of them are still great to get started on. We have the Food Day cookbook, various posters and signs to use to publicize your events, a fantastic school curriculum, and then various guides for organizers, campuses, and schools. Lastly, just want to let everyone know that we have 2 more regional webinars coming up. Monday, April 1st is the webinar for the southern region of the U.S. On Wednesday, April 3rd, we'll have one for the Midwest. So if you have friends and colleagues or members of your other networks in either the South or Midwest, we'd really appreciate it if you could pass along this webinar information to them, since we'd like to get more people involved. And now we are going to start turning it over to our speakers. So first we have Adrian Udarbe with the Arizona Department of Health.
Hi.
Adrian, you should be all set now.
I just want to confirm that you guys can hear me, and can you see my slides okay?
Yeah, it looks like we're good on both fronts.
Okay, great. I am very appreciative to be able to participate in this call today and share all the great things that we've done in Arizona. And fortunately, Arizona had a strong infrastructure as the first Food Day rolled out, and we were well suited to kind of immediately take action and jump onto the activities and see them grow in the second year as well. So what I want to be able to highlight for you is kind of how we started our efforts in the first year. One second as I kind of try to advance my slide here. So with the first Food Day that rolled around, we took that as an opportunity to try to build awareness both internally and out there in the community about truly what Food Day was and how it aligned with our efforts at the Department of Health Services. And we're in a unique position at the State Health Department to really highlight and showcase different efforts that happen throughout the state, whether it's in our large urban environments or our smaller rural environments as well. So within that first year, we had one of our staff members who happens to be a chef as well highlight efforts and did a cooking demo utilizing local foods. And then afterwards, we took it out to our community garden that we have on site here on our campus at the department, and we did a Bring Your Own Seed planting event. And in this effort, we invited community members to join us at our garden to learn about the garden and what it is and what it does, to hear more about Food Day, and to understand how it all fits in together. So those are a few pictures that you're seeing there. We took the advantage and opportunity in the second year's activities to really take our efforts out into the community and showcase efforts out in the community. So what you're seeing a picture of there is our department director, Will Humble, and some of our county health partners as well that were great collaborators with us on our Food Day activities last year out at one of our community gardens at the Orchard Learning Center. And we invited media to join us out at the gardens so we could showcase to Arizona the great gardens that exist out there, and then the role and the purpose of the gardens and how it aligns with the Food Day efforts and the Food Day messaging. And after we did our garden visits, then we took it out to our local farmers markets, and we showcased some of our farmers markets out in the area and coordinated with market managers to show people how fun farmers markets are, and again, how it aligned with Food Day messaging and how it all comes together and how it brings about a sense of community. So one of the things in terms of working with partners and engaging and trying to develop a coordinated approach was selling this idea to individuals, whether it was our internal executive team or out there with our community partners, about how it all fits together. And we made sure that we highlighted the mission and the vision of Food Day and how it aligned with our own state plans and our own strategic map and our own strategic vision as well, and how what we were trying to accomplish with Food Day on a national level is also what we were trying to do on a state level in terms of changing health outcomes. And that helped build not just the awareness but the buy-in to get others on our side and realize how it wasn't something separate, how it already aligned with what we already had going on, and so it made sense to take this as an opportunity to promote our efforts and kind of build community engagement around what we're doing. One of the other strategies that we took was making sure that everybody understood that it aligned with our federal funding that we had as well as our state funding initiatives, and that we could utilize this event and this day to leverage our public health approaches. Some of you may or may not be aware that at the government level, we are limited in our advocacy work. So what we really rely on as we're trying to promote and tackle different public health approaches is the engagement of community partners to do the advocacy side of things and how we can help support each other and not duplicate efforts. So that was a real opportunity with that. The grassroots community partners are really the heart and soul of Food Day, and that's what we really took advantage of in our second year's activities, is that in our thought and our concept of taking it back out to the community, we know that the biggest driver of change comes from community members themselves, and so we were fortunate enough to have those county health partners and those that live and work in the communities in which we're serving and trying to seek change actually have be the voice and be the supporters and make it meaningful for them. So it was really nice to be able to just from our stance connect our community and county partners with the great resources that CSPI and Food Day created and provide them, but let them get creative in taking it from there and making it work in their individual environments. So we promoted and supported efforts from within WIC clinics or within our county health sites, all the way out to the actual gardens out there in the communities and the schools out there in the communities. And we really wanted to highlight those efforts that were going on out there. So this is my contact information here. Again, our efforts were successful because we were able to build the will and the momentum from the highest level all the way down to the grassroots level. And we're very much aware that the success could not have been possible if we didn't have all of those different individuals engaged, that it couldn't just come from one level. It had to be both grassroots and it had to be higher level as well. But if you have any questions for me about any of our efforts or any of the things that we have going on, I'm more than welcome emails, and I'm happy to share some of the strategies that we used as well, and I can take questions at the end about how we engaged additional community partners if you're interested in that.
Great. Thank you so much, Adrienne. You've been a strong partner since the beginning, so we really appreciate you being here and for sharing your thoughts with the audience. And we will move on now to Kate McDevitt, who's with Network for a Healthy California. And Kate, you should be able to show your slides.
Can
All right,
you hear me okay?
see them now? Yeah.
Great. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to share San Diego's story. I am Kate McDevitt. I'm the regional manager for the Children's Power Play campaign at the Network for Healthy California, and we're administered out of UCSD Pediatrics Department. So I just want to start by telling you that Food Day for me has been one of the professional highlights of my career. And the reason being is that it gave me the chance to be a part of something that was so big, so comprehensive, and so meaningful to our community. And so I hope that in what I'll be sharing with you today, you can see yourself as being a part of something like this. I'm a systems person, so I am going to walk you through pretty much step-by-step how we planned our second year of Food Day. I want to start by building a case for where we are here in San Diego. I know that some of you are in other parts of the country, but here in San Diego, with the work that I do, what I see is that 1 in 3 children in San Diego are either overweight or obese, and this is an alarming statistic. And here at UCSD Pediatrics, one of the things that we're really working to address is that less than 5% of San Diego's children in the 4th and 5th grade are eating the recommended number of fruits and vegetables, and fewer than half of them are getting their recommended physical activity. And so the work that I do is really about trying to address those issues. And so I here manage the Children's Power Play campaign, which is a statewide social marketing initiative. And this is run out of the California Department of Public Health, and it is through the Network for a Healthy California. And the work that I do is really around nutrition education. So we're looking at those 4th and 5th graders and trying to teach them about how to eat more fruits and vegetables every day and get more physical activity. And we do that work in schools and after-school programs. And so it's really from that position that I have seen that the correlations between food and physical activity directly impact what's happening in our schools and our after-school programs. And for those of you who are interested in engaging with youth in your Food Day activities, I really want to bring this to your attention because I think that this is very critical to point out when you're working with schools and after-school programs that this will help their students with their academic performance, their test scores, and really their overall wellness and health. And so it was from that framework that I came into Food Day. And I've really loved, since the beginning, the collaboration that we've had with the Center for Science, CSPI, and really the opportunities that it's brought to us. In 2011, what we did here at UCSD Pediatrics was we helped to kick off Food Day. And so in 2011, we brought in Jamie Oliver's Food Foundation's U.S. Field Director, Seth Nickinson, and we also brought in Sarah Sallow from the National School Food Bike Tour to really focus on those components of food and physical activity as being critical to changing our systems. And in 2011, we worked in one neighborhood, and we focused on one elementary school and one middle school and one local university to really talk about Food Day and the values that it instills for our community. And as a result of that work, we actually got a proclamation from City Council. So as Adrienne was mentioning, I really think that there's some wonderful synergy that happens through Food Day with our local civic and political leaders. And I really want to thank Food Day for being a vehicle to help us create change on that level. And so 2011 was terrific, but in 2012 we said, hey, we want to do more. What can we do? So we came up with a model that I absolutely love and would be thrilled if other communities would be up for adopting, which was the Food Day School Passport Challenge. And so what I'm going to do in the time that I have with you is to just walk you through what our School Passport Challenge looked like and hopefully convey to you how easy it can be to really bring together quite a few different constituents in your communities to really focus and celebrate Food Day. So San Diego's Food Day School Passport Challenge, we brought together over 1,000 students and parents, and we brought them out to 3 farmers markets to get them to know their local farmers and engage in activities around food. If you were trying to summarize the School Passport Challenge, that's how I would summarize it. But I'm going to walk through step-by-step how it worked for us. So here's an overall timeline of what we did. In late spring, early summer, the Food Day staff from the national office came to San Diego, and we were so grateful to have them. And we invited many of our community leaders to participate in the community forum. We looked at local needs and interests, and then in the summertime, we, using the information from that forum, developed a Food Day planning committee. I'm going to talk a little bit more about each of these components in a moment, so I'll just do the high level right now. And then in late summer and fall, we really engaged the farmers market managers, the elementary schools, and the restaurants in our program. And in October, we got to have a lot of fun. So we did our Food Day celebration and our School Passport Challenge. So let's talk a little bit about each of these steps. Step 1 was our community forums. One thing that I felt was really important as we set up our community forums with the National Food Day staff was to make sure that we had forums in the daytime for those who were professionally involved in food systems work, public health, etc., and then that we also had an evening forum. So at these forums, we invited stakeholders from throughout the community, community leaders, to sit down with us and talk about if they were going to plan Food Day, what would Food Day look like? What did they think it was important in our community here in San Diego? And as a result of those discussions, and they were powerful, meaningful discussions, we determined that in San Diego we really wanted to engage children, local businesses, local growers. We wanted it to be a Food Day event that would cross multiple neighborhoods, that there would be ways that the community could get involved, and that it would really focus on food education at its core. That was what San Diego cared about, and maybe you heard in that some of the things that you care about as well. So we, after having this forum, we determined that we really needed a committee to move this forward. And I love doing committee work, but what I have found over time is that some of the key components of committee work are to keep the team small. It's easy to bring lots of constituents in, but it does sometimes limit your ability to move forward quickly. So for our committee, I playfully called it our dream team, our San Diego dream team. I handpicked a small team of people that I knew were active and engaged leaders in our community that had strong networks that would be able to pick up the phone and reach a lot of people in a very short amount of time. And that all of the people on our committee were willing to really contribute to the effort. And that everyone on our committee had a unique role. So these were the key components for me. Our team was about 15 people in size. There were lots of opportunities after the committee had done a lot of the groundwork to engage a larger, broader community of stakeholders, many of the people who came to our community forum. But for our dream team, I just want to point out for this particular model that I think it was critical that we had representation, if you look at the right sidebar, from the school district that we were working with. Slow Food Urban San Diego played a tremendous role in helping us to get volunteers. Leia's Pantry contributed a lot of the activities. Local Habit Restaurant, their owner really helped us to engage with the restaurants and print sponsors. The Hunger Coalition and Mama's Kitchen really knew about hunger in our community, as did Superfood Drive. And Squeaks Play Organics had a brilliant person on their staff that helped us with graphic design. So I think all of these things were really, really monumental to our success. Now, on our committee, we divided the roles so that we had people who were responsible for the farmers markets, for the schools, for the restaurants, graphic design, for that print sponsor that I was mentioning before, and then we had someone who was really focused on media and public relations. So we divided things up in this way, and I think that that was, again, key to our success. So what our model looked like, if you start over on the left here, we wanted to engage people in going to their local farmers market. So we identified farmers markets, and then we identified the schools near those farmers markets. And in order to get buy-in, we really looked to the principal to give us the thumbs up. Yes, we could work with them on this Food Day extravaganza. We needed buy-in from the parents, so we had parent volunteer leaders. And we also engaged local restaurants to provide fundraisers for the local schools. So as this model expanded, we had multiple elementary schools all attending a farmer's market in their neighborhood. And then from there, we actually made it a competition so that 3 different farmers markets in 3 very different and unique neighborhoods were engaging 3 to 4 elementary schools. And the school that had the highest percentage of students attending their farmers market on their regularly scheduled farmers market day and participating in our Food Day Passport Challenge, that school would receive our grand prize. So this is what our model looked like. Now, step 3, this was very important, was engaging the key stakeholders. So first we started by identifying farmers market managers that we thought would be supportive of this Food Day effort. And that was not hard. We have such amazing farmers market managers here in San Diego, and I imagine in your communities you do too. And so we engaged them first, and once we had commitment from them that they would be willing to have us come in for Food Day, we then identified the elementary schools surrounding that farmers market. And I went and met with each individual school principal, talked to them about what we were planning to do and how we hoped they would be involved. And if the elementary school principal was supportive, then we asked them to identify a school liaison. And in many cases, and in a large majority of the cases, excuse me, that was a parent who was very active in the school community, active in the PTA or PTO, and they helped us to get the word out. And then once we had the elementary schools identified, we identified restaurants in that neighborhood that would support those fundraisers. And we really focused, because this was Food Day, on restaurants that were locally owned and really supporting healthy, sustainable options. So I think with any project that you do, it's always important to say, why bother? Why would this community want to bother with this project? So for the farmers markets, with those managers, we really talked about how Food Day would help them generate business and media attention. It would draw in new customers. And this was a pretty easy sell, again, because we have such great farmers market managers here. For the elementary schools, I think one of the things that was key was letting them know that there would be a fundraiser for their school if they participated with a local restaurant, and that they wouldn't need to pay in any way to participate, that this was all free, and that all of the tools that they would need to market the Food Day event were going to be provided to them. So that's flyers, advertising, things like that we provided to the school liaison. And then that this was a really wonderful opportunity for their school to advocate for health and wellness. This is something that is really important, I think, to address when you're talking to the principals, that this is something that they can bring to their parents and families. And for the school, that this generated media. And then for the restaurants, like the farmers markets, this was going to generate more business, media attention, and new customers for their business. Now, for getting the families to come to the Food Day event, why would the families bother? Well, for them, what we did is after they completed our Food Day Passport Challenge, they received a 2-week membership to their local YMCA to engage in physical activity, because that's an important component here too. They received some of the wonderful Food Day recipe cards that were provided to us by the national office. They received free taste tests at the farmers market and got to meet the local farmers, which was a lot of fun for our elementary school students. And when they turned in their passport, they got market money, or some of them called it market bucks, to spend on a fruit or a vegetable. And this was a really nominal amount of money. We actually used play coins, but it was, I think, a really nice chance for the children to go back up to the farmers and validate that it has been a meaningful experience for them by picking up a fruit or vegetable from them. And then for the school that had the highest participation, the grand prize was that we had a celebrated local chef, Andrew Spurgeon, came out and did a cooking demonstration and a talk on healthy, sustainable food at a parent and student evening function. And we also invited a lot of our local and sustainable businesses, local farms, local bakers, to do food tastings at that event. And it was really a tremendous night. So that's the why bother. And then step 4 was engaging in Food Day, and this was the fun part for me. So I just wanted to show you, this is on the left a sample of 4 of our school passports. So this would be cut, and each student would receive one of those 4 there. And you can see in the pictures on the right that the first activity was a scavenger hunt where the students went around the farmer's market and identified different things. If we're going clockwise, we had a food art station where the kids were helping to paint a panel that we've used since then. The third activity was Rethink Your Drink, so focusing on reducing consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages and increasing consumption of water. And then we did a taste test, so the kids got to go around and meet the local farmers and taste, and you could see this little guy is really enjoying himself. So after they completed their activities, they came back, and you can see here this little girl is receiving her market money. And all of this we facilitated with the great help of amazing volunteers from our community. So we have a few pictures of a couple of them here, but there were so many, and we were so lucky to have such a dedicated team of people that were willing to come out and help support healthy eating with children at the farmers market. And then just to have something lasting from our time with the students, we did have these panels made. We had one for each neighborhood, so all of the kids from the multiple elementary schools in that neighborhood were all working on one art project, and these are being made available to City Council here in San Diego. So over 3 days at 3 farmers markets, we were able to reach over 1,000 students and parents, and I think one of the things that was so powerful was how many of these students were coming to the farmers market for the first time. In some cases, the parents were going to the farmers market but had never taken their children. In some cases, the whole family was going for the first time. And in all cases, everyone that left this event said, that was so great, I can't wait to do this again. And I think that these smiles from the kids here are really telling of the kind of event that it really generated for our San Diego's community. For our grand prize, Sunset View Elementary School did win, and we had the chef come, and he did a wonderful presentation, and at the end we had all the kids get up and they held all 3 of our panels from our 3 different neighborhoods, and it was just a really wonderful culmination to an event that had been so powerful in our community. And I just want to end by saying I hope that this gives you some ideas about how you can do Food Day in your neighborhood. I'm going to make all the tools that San Diego has developed available to you through the National Food Day Office. And I really want to just encourage you that this can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be, but it's really, at the end of the day, going to be such a meaningful experience. If you'd like to get in touch with me, here's my information. And I think we're going to transition now to the next speaker. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kate. That was really inspiring, and I do hope people got some great ideas from that. I know we are always taking inspiration from what you did in San Diego, so thank you. And now we're going to move on to Carialta Glenn with Planet Food Northwest and the Seattle Food Day Coalition, excuse me. And Carialta, are you able to show your slides? Yep, we see them now.
You do see them?
Yes.
Excellent. And you can hear me?
Yep, you sound good. Go ahead.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Carialta Glenn, and I'm one of a few coordinators for Seattle's Food Day. We kicked off our Food Day in Seattle and Washington State on May 4th last year at Mayor Mike McGinn's office, and kind of established a big picture summary of what our resources were from the previous Food Day, and how we could outreach into Seattle and King County and into Washington State via Facebook and blogging mostly. We had a total of 40 participants in that kickoff event, and at that event we established a Food Day committee of about what it looks like maybe 7 or 8 people, and it eventually came down to about 4 or 5 coordinators that worked on Seattle's Food Day. And we met about once a month working on establishing what our priorities were and where we wanted to go with different events in Seattle's community. The organizations that were at the mayor's office are, you can see them here, Bill the Butcher, Cascade Harvest Coalition, City Fruit, Cedar Grove, the City of Seattle, Department of Neighborhoods, P-Patch program. Let's see, the In-Season Catering, Just Garden Project, the Office of the Superintendent of Public Instruction, PCC Natural Markets, Planet Food Northwest, Puget Sound, Regional Council, PSU. So you can see the types of organizations that were there at our initial meeting. We did get a proclamation from the governor, Christine Gregoire, who proclaimed that Food Day was Food Day. So that was kind of cool. And just next, there are just a few slides of some of the food types of priorities that I feel like we have here in Seattle. Seattle Tilth is a great organization, and this is their Rainier Beach site. And spring planting. And let's go forward. There it is. I seem to not be moving.
We can try to move forward if yours is frozen. We can pull up the slides on our screen.
Okay. All right. There we go. Gardens.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So one of the big ways that we really reached out to people was the Food Day Washington State Facebook page. So whatever kind of media events or anything that we wanted to share with people who liked our page and what was going on in Washington State, we really disseminated through our Facebook page, through our blog site. We had a mother and daughter team who worked on the blog site, and through tweeting from different people who were tweeting about events that were happening in Seattle. So growing food, of course, is one of the ideas of, you know, Food Day, and I like to think that it can be in everybody's backyard. Farmers markets for people who don't have places to grow food are a great place to support local foods, and then if you can grow it in your backyard, that's something to think about. So Planet Food Northwest is my organization that helped support Seattle's Food Day. And this is a Facebook page of some of the events that were happening around Puget Sound for around that Food Day time in October. And for 2013, what I would like to see is just a bigger city, regional-wide events that are just more cohesive, so that we have, you know, like Kate, with your project, that was just amazing to have the way that you wove all of the different parts of your city there, and I'd love to see that here in Seattle, and to create a central event. So whether we end up doing something like what you did, but I would love to see a much a bigger one central event that really showcases Food Day and the initiatives and what Food Day stands for. I'd love to see more student involvement from the schools from kindergarten to university. And I know that the University of Washington had a Food Day event, and Western up in Bellingham had one, and over in Spokane that there were events. But I would love to see something that's a little bit more tied together and brings our communities together. And an initiative that I would love to see is to have a Food Day garden that the City of Seattle would invest in putting on one of its abandoned lots. That would be pretty extraordinary. And then just, I don't, you know, having, I'm not sure what the last one is there. I'm a little nervous. You got, you, anyway. So that's that's all that I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for sharing the process that you went through to build that coalition. And we will look forward to helping Seattle to expand your efforts this year, and you've done a great job. So thank you for your presentation. And I'll just take it back here so we can show you the slides for the regional webinars again. And now we'll move on to questions from the audience or comments if people have them. We'd love to hear from you, and if you want to just introduce yourself and say why you're on the call, that's also great. So if you can either press the raise hand button, which is the little hand icon, and that'll let me know you want to be unmuted to say a comment or ask a question. Or you can type them into the questions box. So I'll give people a minute to think there. All right, we have one person who's raised their hand here. Monica Lopez, go ahead. You should be unmuted if you'd like to try to speak now.
I have a question. My name is Monica Lopez. I'm with Label It in San Francisco. And I'm wondering if any of these efforts in San Diego or Arizona were specific to non-GMO foods opposed to just mainstream, readily available conventional foods as well, if there was any distinction between purely natural foods or foods that might have come through industrial means. Can anyone speak to that?
It was a little bit difficult to hear you, but yeah, Kate or Adrienne, did you have something to chime in with?
Well, I'm happy to talk about in San Diego, really we were trying to do everything possible. A little bit of air there. Our local producers and with our local restaurants too, I think we focused on local sustainable, probably more so than GMO, but I'm certainly an advocate for making sure that people are educated about where their food comes comprehensively. So I think in future that's a great suggestion to find ways to incorporate that.
And this is Adrienne in Arizona. Our efforts too were really emphasizing local foods and connecting our community with their local farmers and growers and planting gardens. However, I too am encouraging community partners this year to engage with local food manufacturers to talk about those very issues and to help strategize and work with food manufacturers, especially local food manufacturers, on how we can make sure that we are supporting the most healthy and sustainable practices here in Arizona as well.
Okay, great. And Monica, if you have other, if that didn't address your question or if you have other parts of your comment, just type them in so that we can ask them out to the presenters as we're getting a little bit of feedback from the line. And meanwhile, does anyone else in the audience have a question or comment? Okay, so Luann McKeefrey asked the question, I noticed that a majority of participants today are female. Are the men not aware of Food Day? So I think, in public health we run into, a lot of female leaders in this field. So I think your observation is a good one. But we do work with all types of people from all backgrounds, and so if you talk to more of your male colleagues and get them involved, we'd love that. We sometimes have calls that are like this, and sometimes it's very mixed. So thanks for pointing that out.
This is Kate in San Diego. I was really impressed by, at the farmers markets, when we were asking parents to bring their children, how many of those who were attending were male. And we also, on our Food Day planning committee, we did have gender diversity, as well as some of our farmers market managers. We had some gender diversity there. But I think that one of the things it really did strike me was how many dads and uncles and grandfathers were bringing their children out to the farmers market.
Thanks, Kate. And Rebecca Sin asks, did your communities, and this is for the presenters, provide any useful feedback after last year's Food Day that will change the way that you do it this year?
This is Adrienne in Arizona again. We did get direct feedback and collected direct feedback at our farmers market event from last year in terms of what attendees liked. So we have a great understanding of what they like and what they're likely to come out and attend. And we also have a good understanding of the difficulties people have maybe during the workday when Food Day is falling on the workday to get their family out to early events. So some of the lessons learned that we do know is that evening events immediately after the workday or after school are likely to be a little bit more successful. This year we're going to try a week-long event to try to coordinate and organize our farmers market managers from across the state and try to be mindful of their current market schedules. So flexibility in making sure you're meeting the community's needs and demands so they're likely to attend is very, very important.
Thank you. And I think that brings up, oh, go ahead.
Please.
I think that brings up a good point of evaluation, too, and gathering feedback and results from your Food Day project so that you can show it off to other partners in the future and to funders as well, potential funders.
I think for San Diego, the thing that was so exciting was how many people said, this was amazing, can we bring this to more communities? And for 2012, we really piloted this with one school district, and we've already been contacted by other school districts in San Diego County that are saying, we saw what you did with San Diego Unified, can we do that here too? And I think that was really powerful. And one of the things that really struck me from the work that we did at one of the Food Day Farmers Market events, it was raining. It was pouring down raining, and it was a Saturday morning. And you would not believe how many of these families came out to support their school at their Food Day challenge. And at the end of the event, one of the farmers came up to me and he said, I just want to thank you, because if you guys hadn't been here today, I don't think we would have gotten any business. And as farmers, we're really struggling right now. And if you guys can bring these kids back again, we love it so much. So I really want to stress that this wasn't just a benefit to the children or to the schools. This was a benefit to our local farmers too. And I think that there's so many opportunities that we have to recognize them, but maybe things like this are more meaningful. So I hope that, to answer the question, this next year we'll be able to bring this to more school districts and more farmers markets and really show that this is a replicable model.
Some of the feedback that we got here in Seattle was to start early. In trying to organize a central event at our Seattle Center, we didn't really start organizing until about June for an October event, and at that point Seattle Center, their calendar was booked for that time. And the other feedback that we got was, since it was a Wednesday or during a weekday, was to have events early in the evening for families. And then it also extended into the weekend, so there were events that happened not only on Wednesday of that 2012, but it extended into that Saturday and Sunday of the following part of the week, and that helped attendance in the events that were going on.
Great, thank you for that. And other questions or comments from the audience, or is there anyone who'd like to introduce themselves, say why they joined the call today? You can either type in questions or press the raise hand button. Okay, well, if people don't have comments or questions at this time, maybe we'll just ask the presenters if they have any closing thoughts for the audience or advice to end out the call.
This is Kate. I would just say if this is something that you can see yourself in, to start early. I think it doesn't need to be too much, but to start the conversation in the spring, because once you get into the summer with people's vacation schedules, it pays to have gotten commitments in the late spring and get the ball rolling. And I truly believe that this is a powerful national event that will only continue to grow.
This is Adrienne in Arizona, and I would definitely second those thoughts and comments, as well as encourage those on the call to utilize the great resources from Food Day and CSPI. They're very visually appealing to look at, and the community partners respond really well to them, so don't try to duplicate any work or efforts, and take advantage of those amazing resources that they have.
And this is Carrie Alta in Seattle, and I agree with both Kate and Adrienne. Starting early, using the resources on the Food Day website, and just engaging as many community resources as you can. It's been the most helpful here.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for being on the call today. I know that I learned something, and I hope that the audience did too. So we will be sending around the recording and links to these slides. And we will also be posting the archived webinars on the foodday.org site, so keep an eye out for them there on the updates page for now. So thank you all for joining, and we'll be sending a follow-up shortly. And thanks so much again to our presenters, Kate, Adrienne, and Carrie Alta.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care.
All right. Thanks.